Okay, so the heresy spread. Okay, and
This is the Cathar heresy.
it wasn't Cathar heresy yet.
Okay.
So then,
The essence of the heresy was that the world was real. However, it got eviler the further you were away from heaven, closer to the earth, in a series of things. Okay, so you had a choice, which was you would either try to be pure, or you would try to be very good at being evil. Okay, equally good. To make a long story short. Okay,
right.
so the Cathar heresy came to this section of France and became known as the Cathar heresy, and it was adopted by the bishops of the church, the bishop princes, and the dukes and marquis of the major big castles of southern France.
Wow.
And so it was official for a whole region. Okay, and it adopted a principle, which is of the perfect ones. So you had a choice to be a perfect one, in which case everybody took care of you. You were a perfect one, or you could have a lot of fun. Right? So it developed poetry and art and culture, a kind of a renaissance, which was influenced by a Muslim renaissance, which was going on in Spain, because there was a Muslim renaissance, right? By renaissance, I mean that people were adopting new forms of art and culture and all of this sort of thing. Okay? So the other people loved it. One of the reasons they loved it is because it didn't have tithes, and the Catholic priests and the Pope and all of that weren't taking their money. And they weren't appointing who got to be priests, okay? The King of France and another guy called Simon de Montfort didn't like that, so they decided to annihilate them. And they raised a huge crusade, which was basically a civil war between the emerging nation of France and Languedoc-Roussillon, which is where you live, which is also known as Cathar country. And they came down here and laid siege to castle after castle after castle and perpetrated a number of massacres, most famous of which is Béziers, 30,000 killed. They would surround the place and say, you have a choice, you can become Catholics and join us, or we'll kill you, okay?
Or, you know.
Yeah, surrender, yeah.
Yeah,
so they
be a perfect one or have fun.
Yeah. So that's the Cathar. So the Cathar country, and there are the valley that I recommended that you take, which goes from Perpignan to Fou, just south of Namur, up through the mountains and the deep valleys. There's all everybody there was a Cathar. There's Cathar graveyards. Some of the families are still Cathar.
Vous avez choisi?
Non, ce n'est pas nécessaire. L'addition, s'il vous plaît. Okay. So it's worth studying the Cathar religion and some of the Cathar salons. Carcassonne was one. The Duke in Carcassonne collected Muslim and Cathar and troubadour poets and had a big salon to try and develop the art and the language and all of that kind of stuff. Right?
Wow.
And some of that is associated with changes in language and vowel shifts and changes in perception and things like that have affected the culture ever since, right? Because it was oppositional. That they were oppositional to Christian religion and everything, well, still trying to be moral, but still trying to be realistic. Okay? That's why we call Cathar country. You might have seen the signs when...
Yeah, I've seen them, but...
Yeah, okay. Now the Cathar folded into itself Muslim mysticism, Sufi mysticism, and other forms of the occult and paganism, including alchemy, alchemic thought at the time, right?
Yeah.
So you can find strange symbols and stuff all over there. Yeah. Oh yeah. People. Heresy was great. That was the way to go. I mean, there you've got me.